Welcome. My name is Ed Faber, and I'm the chess librarian. Lesson 1, we are going to cover the board, pawn movement, and notation. Let's start our journey. Lesson 1, Introduction to Chess and the Movement of the Pawn. According to legend, chess is an ancient game that originated in India. The chess is played on a board. The chessboard consists of squares. Each square on the board has a special name. How do we name squares? Each square is designed by a letter, sideways, and a number up and down. To label a square, we need to find its corresponding letter and number. The letter always comes before the number. H8, B7, A5, and E4 are an example of squares. Right now, you are probably asking yourself, why am I learning how to name squares before I learn how the pieces move or how to play the game? Knowing how to label squares is an important part of learning chess and will be used consistent. There are two types of squares, light squares and dark squares. Light squares are white squares and dark squares are black squares. What type of square is E4? E4 is a light square. How about G7? G7 is a dark square. There are 5 different types of chess pieces and there are pawns. Rook, abbreviated R, Knight, abbreviated N, Bishop, abbreviated B, Queen, abbreviated Q, King, abbreviated K, and Pawn, which is not a piece, has no abbreviation. Let us look at how we set up the chessboard. The white pieces are on the first horizontal line. Notice the 1. The black pieces are on the 8th horizontal line. Notice the 8. The 8 pawns are located directly in front of the pieces of the same color. The square H1 should always have a white rook on it and is a light colored square. The queen is always placed on its own color. The white queen is placed on a light square. The black queen is placed on a dark square. And the king is not placed on its own color. It is right beside the queen. Bishop, knights, and rooks are located next to the king and queen in that order. White always moves first from this starting position. You can never capture your own piece. A white piece can never capture another white piece, and a black piece can never capture another black piece. Now we are ready to learn how to move the pieces. Pawns move 1 square straight ahead. When the pawns are on their original beginning square, they have the option of moving 2 squares straight ahead or just moving 1 square ahead. This is the only time that a pawn can move 2 squares. Pawns cannot move backwards. Pawns capture by moving diagonally forward 1 square. Pawns cannot move to an occupied square, except when capturing. In this diagram, the white pawn can only move from D3. In this diagram, white pawn can move to either F3 or F4, and black pawn on D7 can move to either D5 or D6. However, the black pawn on C6 can only move to C5 because it is not on its original. This diagram illustrates how pawns can capture. The white pawn can move to D5 or capture black's pawn on E5, and the black pawn can move to E4 or capture white's pawn on D4. What are the possible moves for the pawn on E2? The pawn on E2 can move 1 square up to E3, 2 squares up to E4. As it is on an E2, its original square. It also can capture the F3 pawn or capture the knight on D3. What about the pawn on H3? Well, why can't it capture the pawn on F5? It had no other moves. Why can't the pawn on A3 move anywhere? Where can a pawn on C7 move, and what pieces can it capture? The pawn game is a game played with only pawns. This is a starting position. Using all your knowledge about pawns, try to get one of your pawns to the opposite side of the board. Try to get your pawn to the 8th row if you are white, or the 1st row if you are black. The first person who gets one of their pawns to the other side of the board wins. All the rules about pawns should be followed. Remember, white always moves. The game can become more challenging when using all 8 pawns. The same rules apply. Lesson 1, Question 1. What are all the possible squares each palm can move to on its next move? Question 2. What are all the possible squares each palm can move to on its next move? Question 3. White and black are playing the palm game. It is white to move. Who will win? Question 4. If white moves 4 times in a row, how can he capture a piece each time? Answer by naming the squares where the palms will move to. Question 5. If white and black are playing the pawn game and it's white's turn to move, who will win the best play from both sides? Question 6. White and black are playing the pawn game. If it is white's turn to move, who will win the best play from both sides? Question 7. How many squares are on a chessboard? What square does the white queen start on at the beginning of a chess game? Question 10. What color square does the black king start on at the beginning of a chess game? What is the name of this square? Question 12. Can a pawn move backwards or sideways? When can a pawn move diagonally? Question 13. How many times in a game can a pawn move 2 squares ahead? Question 14. What are the names of all the chess pieces? When you are done with this lesson, you should know how many chess originated, the names of all the squares, the names of all the pieces, how to set up the board, and the basic movement of the pawns. Thank you so much for listening.